Plaintiff Sarah Ahmed was married to the defendant, and they have 5 children, but she claims their marriage fell apart due to trust issues and infidelity. Sarah's suing her ex-husband today for unpaid rent. Defendant Samir Ahmed admits he and Sarah had trust issues, but he claims their relationship fell apart after Sarah became addicted to pain pills. Samir claims Sarah became so addicted that she was unable to function, but he blames her addiction on the doctors who overprescribed the pills.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay. I have been watching your show since I was in elementary school. I just like to see that you are still on the show.
That's funny. I don't understand. I don't understand what's funny.
Just laughing at what you just said. You're funny.
Oh,
You make me laugh.
No, you still look the same.
Thank you.
I give you that. But yeah, it's a long joke with my family how much I was into court shows and, like reality shows like Jenny Jones. And I'm so happy to see you are still on the air and long
Still
time.
here.
So that I want to
Still
say.
here.
Yeah.
Lord, thanks to the viewers.
Yeah. So I met Samir when I was 18. We got married and had our first son young. I was 21 years old when I got married and also had our first son. We have 5 kids together now.
How long were you married?
We were married for about 10 years.
How did it go? Married.
I mean, we had a lot of trust issues, a lot of ups and downs through the years. But we have 5 beautiful blessings out of it.
Why did you all? What happened in that 10th year?
A lot of trust issues happen between us. So I filed for divorce.
You
and
said trust. Did you catch him doing something?
Yeah.
I think it was both of us. It was me. So
Who
I
was
think
first.
that's like a Pandora's box, asking
All
who
right, I'll
goes
leave
first.
it alone then.
Well, in the beginning of our relationship, I had found out that he had gotten someone else pregnant. So he does have twins that are the same age as my oldest son. But we have moved on from that. I've been in their life.
Can I add that was before we got married though?
Yeah.
I mean, I was young,
Yeah, so, from there, I definitely had trust issues. Kind of starting off, I tried to work through them. And then, it was hard.
Got it.
Then when I divorced him in May of 2017, I ended up finding out a month later that I was pregnant with our 5th. So that's our last kid together. During that pregnancy, I ended up having emergency gallbladder removed, around 20 weeks pregnant with her. I almost lost my life and with her, but we were able to he's seen that I was struggling with my health as well, and he was there for me. He helped me through that. That was one of the first emergency surgeries I had. So I've had a couple of surgeries since then, but I'm thankful to be here, and I had a successful surgery too. And my daughter's alive, and I got through that. We got through that. My youngest was born in February of 2018. So we decided to move together into this apartment. That was in April of 2018. Then about August, we were doing fine during that time, living together. And then about August of 20.
No, I have to know, and everybody wants to know. Were y'all sleeping together?
Yeah, we were back
back together.
Yeah, we got back together
Why don't you
at
give me
that
some
time.
background, and then I'll get back to the specifics.
Well, I just want to start from the beginning. She did give me the 5 most beautifulest, precious things I adore in my life. We were always great in the beginning. To me, we did a lot of family stuff together. After over the years, a lot of differences, and then the infidelity.
About what? Oh, other than the infidelity, what other differences caused trouble?
Yeah, it was just, I was working a lot, wasn't given attention. I was working, coming home, going to bed, same routine. I got into like a routine of just doing that, not giving the attention that my wife should have gotten.
Okay.
But my kids were always my life. And then we had the infidelity between both of us. We separated. you know, it broke my heart that we weren't together. Her health did take a decline. And I thought, you know, let's get our family back together. So we tried to work it out. And then I moved in. We got this apartment together. And then the biggest issue, what happened the second time around, was after she had her surgery, her doctor gave her pain medicine. And I think that's her addiction is what really made us.
You became addicted to it?
Yeah.
Why don't you give me some more detail?
Yeah. So as my health did decline, I was seeing a pain doctor. I did have a lot of neck and head pain, which later found out it was a benign tumor that was behind my head. Well, it was in my ear. I had it removed in April of 2020. But that caused a lot of head pain. And, you know, then as I was taking the medication, you know, it started off with just like Vicodins, and then it progressed to where the doctor offered me something stronger, which was Percocet and also muscle relaxers. And I'm a smaller girl.
You use those together?
Well, pharmacists had told me that it's a deadly combination and to not. So I leaned more towards the Percocet to rely on. It did help me be able to function, but then it snowballed into.
She was not functioning.
I was not functioning anymore. And prior to this, I never would take any medications. I'm not that person. I always go the natural route. I'm a big believer that the medical marijuana is very beneficial for people like me that have pain, that don't want to get addicted to something. And then I started realizing my body was physically addicted. Within an hour of taking my medication, I was withdrawing already. That was very tough. And I knew in the back of my mind I wanted to get off of them, but I was in a lot of pain, and I used that as an excuse. I did begin to become selfish. I was rude to others. I really damaged my family, and I live with that. But I got sober in February 2020. And I am very proud of myself for how far I've come. I was able to really look back and see that I became somebody I wasn't anymore. And it controlled my mind. It robbed me of my mind. It robbed me of who I was. A lot of trust issues happened.
Okay.
So I filed for divorce.
You said trust. Did you catch him doing something?
Yeah.
I think it was both of us. It was me. You know, so I think
first?
That's like a Pandora's box, asking who
I'll
goes
leave
first.
it alone then.
Defendant Samir Ahmed is being sued by his ex-wife, who admits she became addicted to pain pills after surgery, and she deeply regrets that her addiction damaged her family.
What do you mean by robbed you of your mind?
I only thought about the medication. I only thought about the pill. When was I going to take my next one? It was a daily struggle.
Nothing else mattered in you.
Nothing else mattered to me. And, you know, I think him seeing me decline like that was he was worried.
How long did it take you to decline from the time you began taking those painkillers?
About a year. Well, right away, you kind of start feeling like you depend on them.
I blame the doctor, Your Honor. I blame the doctor 100%.
He was overprescribing me a lot.
He was way overprescribing it to her. And that doctor, all she had to do was say, I still feel pain. And he just gave it to her and gave it to her and gave it to her.
And he also fluctuated the medication as well. And I would be under the sheets, shaking, having withdrawals. It was very awful. And then when I came off of them, I got through those days of withdrawing, and you know, it took time for my body to completely come off of them. And I hope to help people out there, because this is a very big epidemic right now with the opioids. And opiates, everything. And they are so highly addictive.
Does the weed help?
It did, yeah.
Good.
That's what really got me off of them. You know, when I was on them, I don't know what I was scared of, but I was so scared to get off.
You don't need it anymore?
Well, yeah, I mean, off of the pills, I ended up, that's how I substituted with now Illinois is legal. So that was something I was in line waiting.
You ain't got to stutter with me. I'm in favor of medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. because I think it's less damaging than liquor. I'd
It
rather
is.
have people smoke weed than drink liquor because liquor damages your organs.
Yeah.
And weed just hurts your memory. Now, but you can still live with a bad memory. You
Yeah.
might not remember your name at some point. At least your heart will be beating and your kidney will be all right and your liver will be fine.
Yep.
And every now and then you'll come back in.
Yep.
People I've seen who have memory problems, they come back in and come back out. They might say strange things sometimes. I believe I'm gonna do all of this. I am so scared. The scariest thing in my life is that I get dementia and start talking crazy. I tell them if I get dementia, stuff my mouth with cotton. So I can't talk crazy, say things that might offend people. Nonetheless, I'm glad to hear your story, and you gave some clarity to what many want to know and need to know.
Yeah.
Now tell me about the rent. How do you get back with your husband and then charge him rent?
Well, we did start having trouble about August of 2019.
How long
and
after he moved in?
That was over a year, probably about a year and a half.
Okay, good times for a
Yeah.
year and a half
It started
later.
getting really bad.
Yeah, it got really
It
bad.
started getting really bad
Her
with
addiction.
her
That's
addiction.
what it was. Yeah.
And it kind of got to a point where I didn't know how to deal with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I was more there for the kids, and I was trying to work, and I was trying to deal with her too. I just couldn't.
Okay.
I got to a point where it was bad for us to be in the same, underneath the same
We couldn't
roof.
even be in the same room,
Yeah.
let alone
It got
live
to a
in the
point where
same
I was
house.
sleeping on the couch, she was sleeping in the room, and we were just
very separate.
We were co-parenting though. Like I would never take. She's a great mother. I'll never take that away from her. But when she was clouded on that addiction, clouded her very bad. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who she was, and
Well,
So
who you
with-
were with that rent. She wanted. She knew
Yeah,
that.
well-
Go ahead.
I ended up having another surgery at the end of August of 2019. I had my tonsils and adenoids removed at that point. Then about October, I went back to work. And then at the end of October, I had to go back on disability again from my job because then the tumor, my health was deteriorating. I'm not sure if it was the medication or my health condition, but I was not a great person. I was sleeping all the time, and I had constant vertigo as well. So I was trying to function with working 40 hours a week,
And
five kids.
Oh, 5 children and dealing with all that?
The medical marijuana helps with that, keeping me calm. I definitely enjoy, that just keeps me a calm, patient mom.
Relaxing.
Relaxed. I'm very easygoing. I'm fun. I like to have fun, dance with my kid. We do a lot. I have been watching your show since I was in elementary school. I just like to see that you are still on the show. It's been
I don't understand. I don't understand what's funny.
Just laughing at what you just said. You're funny.
Oh,
You make me laugh.
No, you still look the same.
Thank
I give you that.
Defendant Samir Ahmed is being sued by his ex-wife, who admits she became addicted to pain pills after surgery, and she deeply regrets that her addiction damaged her family.
Okay, so he obviously agreed to pay the rent.
Yeah, he
fair.
was on the lease, and we've agreed from the beginning half of everything. We always do things fair for our kids because I always found it easier if we just split it in half.
well, we did split everything 50-50, and then what ended up happening is I lost my job. I was trying to take care of the kids, lost my job. She wasn't in a good shape. It was hard for me to try to find a job at the time. I'm an electrician, so I was in the construction. So I lost my job right before the pandemic hit. So it was 2020, New Year's, when she decides that she's completely, she's not going to live in the house. She had to help herself because I couldn't help her. So she left, and I couldn't get a job because I couldn't have nobody watching 5 kids.
She left and the children were with you?
Yeah, I took care of my kids from January to March. I was taking care of the kids by myself. Couldn't get nobody to even babysit
It
5
was
kids.
just January. It wasn't January to March.
No, you're gone February.
It was-
too. No.
Go ahead.
It was So it was just tough for me, and I just took care of my kids. And I think, I shouldn't have to pay for half of that while I was trying to take care of my kids, because she couldn't even let me work.
And
I didn't
you say, how many months are you suing him for?
Well, from September of 2019 till January of 2020. I'm gonna give a little background of those. So I paid the rent for those 5 months. In December, Christmas was coming. I mean, I think I only had like $100 in my account.
Gotta wrap this up. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you like to
but
talk like me. Go ahead.
We were struggling financially, and I think that's where it really snowballed for me, because I numbed it, and I was really
All
worried
right.
about.
Anybody have any evidence?
I did file for custody in that month as well, because he was
All right,
withholding
anybody
me
have
from
any
the
evidence
kids.
based on the rent you're suing for?
Yeah, I do. So page 1 is the lease.
I know we have the lease.
Page
Anything?
2 shows all the times I paid the rent. And then I had to take out my 401k because we were so behind, we were going to get evicted. What we ended up doing is we were doing week on, week
Ma'am, I'm
off
gonna have
with the
to
kids.
stop you. So you only want from September to January?
Yeah, he never paid the
she's
rent
saying
during that
after
time
January,
period.
she started getting sober in January, and then I wanted the kids to see their mom. So what we ended up doing where 1 week on that she would come to the house, 1 week I would come to the house. So we went back and
kept the
forth
kids
a
in
week and a
place.
week. And at that time, I wasn't working.
All right, you agreed to pay rent, and she shows me some checks where she paid. What is your dispute? Is your dispute only that she should deduct some because you had the children by yourself?
Of course.
That's your defense?
Yeah, I mean.
How much then? How
But
much?
I
did she
paid the
deduct?
rent while you lived in the house, and I didn't even live in the house at that time in January.
That doesn't matter, though. I took
Oh,
care
it
of our
does
kids.
matter.
It does matter.
$3,375.
I wanted a roof over my kids'
Go
head.
ahead. I know you like to talk. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You don't even know what happened in the case. You're so busy talking. You don't know whether you won or lost.
I just want to say that, like, I'm proud of you that you got sober and continue with your sobriety and just take care of our kids.
Thank you. It was a hard time that we went through, and I'm happy it's in the past.